Hello guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Enorita James. I am a clinical research scientist working and living in Germany. But in my channel, I talk about digital pattern drafting. I try to take you by the hand and show you how you can transit from manual pattern drafting to digital pattern drafting. If that is what interests you, then welcome to my channel. In my last channel, I talked about SEAMLY 2D. I introduced you to SEAMLY 2D. I showed you how you can download SEAMLY 2D. If you've not watched that video, go ahead and watch it. I will link it right at the top here and then below this video. This is video 2, and we're going to be talking about how to create measurement sets in SEAMLY 2D. So here we are with my SEAMLY 2D open. As I said in my last video, I showed you how to download and install your SEAMLY 2D. For those of you that are here for the very first time and you do not know what SEAMLY 2D is, SEAMLY 2D is an open source CAD pattern drafting software. CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. In simple language, it is how you can actually do your dress designing or dress patterns digitally. And the good thing is that SEAMLY 2D is open source and it is free. I've seen a lot of videos on SEAMLY 2D. In fact, not so many videos on SEAMLY 2D. The ones I've seen, unfortunately, if I am just somebody that doesn't know anything about CAD pattern drafting, it is a little bit confusing. So I try to make it as simple as possible, as straightforward as possible. And I'll try to make the videos to be short so that you have full attention and you take it step by step. In this video now, we will first create measurement sets. Measurement sets are simply the measurements that you're going to use to draft your patterns. And we call it measurement sets because you create different pattern sets. That means you can create your front body block, you can create your back body block, you can create your sleeves. So I want to create a measurement set just for front and back basic bodies. The basic bodies I'm going to use one of the patterns books that I have. I did a video on pattern books that I use, and I'm also going to link it right here and below this video in case you're interested in it. But you can also use it directly, especially if you've already learned how to do pattern drafting manually. You can use this the same way that you do your pattern drafting manually. All you need to know is to know how to use these tools right at the left here. As you can see here, you cannot use any of these tools. It's not activated. And the only way you can activate it is if you create pattern set. So let's go ahead and create a pattern set. The very first thing you need to do is to get to measurements and then go to Open SEAMLY Me. Now this is where you're going to use to create the measurement sets. If you look at these two pluses here, there's Add Known and Add Custom. If you click on Add Custom, no, first of all, sorry, you need to create a new file. Then when you click on New File, you leave it as individual because I'm creating an individual measurement set just for me, one person. And I'm going to be using centimeters. You can go ahead and change it to millimeters or change it to inches. It depends on what you want to use. But I'm going to be using centimeters. And then you click on OK. Now, once you click on OK, this is what comes out. So you have two things here. add known or add custom. If you want to create an add custom simply means you add something, a measurement that you want. Maybe you want a measurement of a shoulder to under bust. So this is where you're going to do that. But most times I would not advise you to do that because it will be a waste of time. Because most of these measurements, you already have them in what you call add known. So when you come here, I advise you, forget about custom, except you want to make a very, very special kind of dress and you need very, very special kind of measurements. Other than that, this is really not so necessary. So it's best to go to add known. And when you go to add known and you click on it, you're having all kinds of measurements you can possibly think about. And they're arranged in alphabetical order. Now, if I click this arrow right here, you see that all those things that has to do with direct height measurement is hidden. The next one is direct width measurement. If I remove that, the next one is indentation. I'm going to show you what all those things look like. These are all hand measurements you can possibly need, especially if you want to make something like gloves. Foot measurements, head measurements, circumference and arc, which is very important when it comes to all the circumference that has to do with your neck, your bust, your waist, your hips, everything that has to do with circumference measurements. You can find it under this subcategory. Of course, you have vertical measurements. That is things like armpit to waist, neck front to waist, high bust to waist, and things like that. Those are vertical measurements. So if you put that, then you have your horizontal measurement like your shoulder to shoulder, across chest, front, across chest, back, your armpit to armpit, and things like that. That's where you have this horizontal measurement. And of course, you have all your bust measurements like bust point, bust circumference, things like that. Front bust, high bust, low bust, that is where you have all those kind of measurements like balance measurements and all that, arm measurements. So you can see that there's no kind of measurement you possibly need that you will not find here. There is none. That is why I'm taking my time to take you through to see that there's actually no measurement you will not find here. For instance, if you want to look at the height measurement, if you click on just one like this, it shows you what different kinds of height measurements. You can see height measurement here. If you go to number one here, number one is your full height. If you see, that's number one. It goes up right here, your full height. Let me bring it up, you see it. That is your full height. Right from your head here, you can see number one. That is your full height. So if you pick that, that means you're looking for your full height. But the measurement set we want to create is a measurement set that we want to use to create a basic body block, and so on and so forth. I probably do not need all this for my basic body block because most of the measurements here is from your head down, from your shoulder down, and all that. And it's completely down to your feet. It's not down to any part of the body. If you notice here, it's completely down to your feet. Like here, this is the waist completely down. So all the measurements on this category A, I will not need it. So I will just close it. Direct width, let me check that. So this is shoulder width. As you can see, number one here, this is your shoulder width. Number two, this is your bust width and all that. So I think we'll need a shoulder to shoulder, the back. I think I will take shoulder width for the back. Width bust for the back. Okay, I think I'll need that. Width of your hips, yeah, for the back. Waist for the back. Now let's go to, I don't think we need indentation, but let me just show you what it looks like. That is an indentation. What's the distance between the curve of your neck and the curve of your back? There are certain kinds of styles you might need this, but for this, we do not need it. So I think you're beginning to understand my point. So you just click all measurements. Hand, we don't need it. Foot, we don't need it. Circumference, we are going to need some. So just click on it. Then we are going to pick all the measurements here that we need. If you want to see what the measurement looks like, you just click on it, the picture comes out. And then you can try to pick out what you need. Like circumference like this, we are going to need it. Neck, we are going to need it. Waist, we need it. Full circumference of higher hip and the basic hips. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out all the measurements we need, and then we'll continue from there. I hope this is not too confusing, so go ahead and pick out all the basic measurements we need. I'm going to do it also, and then I'll show you when I finish picking it out. Then you can check the one that you left out and then add it. I finished choosing all the measurements we are going to need. And when you're done with choosing the measurements, just come here and click on OK. And there you have all your measurements. There you have all the measurements that you need. As you can see now, any one of those measurements you click, you'll see right here the diagram of where that measurement is. So it will guide you on how you're going to take your measurements. So these are all the measurements I've chosen. These are all the measurements. So what you're going to do now is when you click on one, like let's click on this one. This is BO1. That is number 1 here. And it will actually tell you right here, horizontal distance from shoulder tip to shoulder tip. Horizontal distance from shoulder tip to shoulder tip at the back. See, it's at the back. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to measure yourself shoulder tip to shoulder tip. Let's say my shoulder tip to shoulder tip is 14.5. So I'll just come here and write 14. That's in inches. So normally it's not 14.5, that is inches. But if I have to do it in centimeters, I have to put my centimeter value right there. So that's what you're going to do for each of it. You measure yourself. Each of it, you measure yourself. Look for where that number corresponds. Right here, this is GO3. You come here, that's number 3 right here. That is circumference across the chest to the back. That is your chest circumference. You measure it in centimeters or in inches, and then you put it right here. So normally what you might want to do is, for me, you might decide to just print this out, do your measurements, write it on the paper, then come and hold the paper and enter all your measurements right here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get all the measurements right here, and then we are now going to save it. So let me do that quickly, and then you see what it looks like so that you know whether you've done your own right or wrong. When you're done with putting in your measurements, this is what it looks like. Now, I didn't show you, if you want to expand it so that you see it well, just go up here where you see that cross, and then you can, reduce or expand it to be able to see what you're measuring, the actual name of what you're measuring. And once you've done your measurement, you can see it right here. And you notice that for some of those measurements, there's actually a calculation for it. It will calculate it for you for some of the measurements. So it's not all the measurements that you actually have to measure physically. You can also do a calculation for you. Now, once you have all your measurements right there, what you need to do now is to go here and save it. Go here and save it. Mine is not highlighted because I have saved it before. So once you finish, you save it. If I want to use this same measurements for another person or for another size, instead of me to go back and be choosing all of it, I can just change the values. put in the values of that person or that customer that wants to create this same pattern. Just put in those values, click it here, change the value, click the other one, put the value, click the next one, put the value. And when you finish, you can now save as that person's name or that customer's name. And this saves you a lot of time, especially when you start creating different styles, different patterns. So you don't need to go and start, creating a fresh set. Just go to that pattern set or measurement set for that pattern, and then add in the new measurements you have for your customers, and then save it as per the name of your customer. And if you also want to print it, you can also click on print, and it gives you this, so you can print it out and keep it. But for me, I will just, I'm not connected to my printer, so what I will do, I will just put it as a Microsoft print to PDF, as a PDF document. So that's what I will do. So now once I've done that, I'll just go to print, and then it will ask me where I'm going to put it. I'll put it on my desktop, and I'll just put it as my measurement for SEAMLY 2D. Narrator. So I'll just save it. I need to save on my desktop. To save on my desktop. So now if I go to my desktop, I should be able to find it somewhere on my desktop. I'll look for it later. So that is how to create a measurement set using SEAMLY 2D. So I've come to the end of this video showing you how to create your measurement sets with SEAMLY 2D. Please go ahead and create your measurement sets, because this is a measurement set we are going to be using. I'm going to be using to actually show you the different pattern drafting tools in SEAMLY 2D and how you can use them to draft your patterns. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you will go ahead and start, because learning actually has to do with doing. If you just listen and you do not do it, you will not be able to learn how to transit from manual pattern making to CAD pattern drafting. Completely free course. I'm teaching you what people will pay to learn. So I hope you appreciate it. Thank you for watching till next time.